And Wigan have a former Liverpool goalkeeper facing Everton today in Chris Kirkland. At the back, Kevin Kilban, sent off on his last Everton appearance, faces his old club in a defence that welcomes back Paul Scharner after suspension. Wilson Palacios makes his home debut, and Antonio Valencia has signed permanently for the club this week. Striker Marcus Bent still hasn't scored against Everton in the 2 years since he left Goodison Park. He's alongside former Liverpool man Emile Heskey. And super sub Antoine Sibierski, who scored with his first touch at Derby, is back on the bench today.
Very close to being Steve Bruce's strongest side this. He's got Eric Edmond to come in at left back, but apart from that, all his key players are in there. You always look at the front lads here though and think if Emile Heskey and Marcus Bent are on form, working their defenders in the way that they can, this team will be a threat to most sides. Brucey is getting some good consistency out of Bent at the moment. He's enjoying a really good spell, the striker playing with plenty of confidence. Just needs a bit of help from Heskey on the goals front. The big centre-forward hasn't scored a league goal since the end of August. Surely that drought has got to end soon.
In goal for Everton is Tim Howard. The back four is unchanged from the win over Manchester City, with Jolyon Lescott's 6 goals making him the second top scorer in today's team. Leon Osman is back in midfield after 8 matches out with a broken toe. And Andy Johnson returns. He left here in an ambulance a year ago after a collision with Chris Kirkland. Manuel Fernandes, who's rejoined Everton for a second loan spell, this time from Valencia, is among the substitutes.
Well, David Moyes has had to swap things about a bit with the loss of Yakubu, Pino and Yobo to the African Cup of Nations. And defensively, I wouldn't expect it to make a huge difference. Jagielka can do a good job next to the ever-reliable Jolyon Lescott, knowing that Phil Neville and Lee Carsley aren't going to wander very far from their positions just in front of that back four. And with that pair sitting, the other 4 lads going forward can mix it up a bit. I think Arteta and Osman might swap flanks at times today, and you know exactly what Tim Cahill will be trying to do. Pretty much a free role for him, just behind Andy Johnson, timing his runs to arrive in the box right on cue. Looking at the pitch, David Moyes would have loved, I'm sure, to have had Yakubu available so he can go from back to front a little quicker.
Well, you mentioned the pitch, and the attempts to keep it playable have backfired to a degree with that huge streak down the middle. Familiar faces for Steve Bruce. He's linked up again with Mario Melchiot, who was with him at Birmingham, and leading out Everton, his former Manchester United colleague, Phil Neville. Everton looking to break into the top 4. Wigan looking to break out of the bottom 4. It's Wigan against Everton, and it's coming live next. Well, it's a relatively recent top-flight fixture, this. In fact, the first time it took place in the Premier League was 6 months after Kevin Keegan left his last job at Manchester City. Everton haven't lost in 2 previous visits to this ground, and it's Wigan with the first evidence there of the pitch, causing a problem for the former Everton man Kevin Kilban. Wigan having got the game underway. David Moyes expressed his doubts about the surface before the game, and we've already seen it may have a part to play. It's Lee Carsley, Phil Neville's layoff, and Palacios, Marcus Bent. Right, Kilban is up against his old club today. This is Mario Melchiot. Valencia, who's just signed permanently here after successive loan spells. All got away from Heskey, cleared by Jagielka. Here's Valencia. He's found Wilson Palacios. It's a confident start to the game from Wigan. Can they give Howard his first test here? He's done well to hold on to it, Palacios. He's done brilliantly!
Didn't he just? Got through a clutch of Everton shirts there to get his shot away, and they have started well lately, Wigan. They did at Derby last time out. Nice and positive start, moving the ball about. Had no right, really, to get his shot away there, Palacios, but he did.
Home debut for him today. He did play in the win at Derby, the man from Honduras, known there as the Magician. Duran from the same club. The left-back called Meno Figueroa, although he's pretty much on trial here and considered one for the future. And still no clearance for Eric Edman, who did come to the club with a slight injury anyway. Hence Kevin Kilban still filling in at left-back today. Jagielka. Now Hibbert. Andy Johnson has managed to stay onside. Osman has made a move into the area, so too has Cahill. Judging those passes, it's going to be so difficult on this surface today, as we've already seen.
Yeah, and they've got to be clever. Everton in particular, the way that they service Andy Johnson up there, need to put the ball into the right areas for the little striker. He's a great workhorse in many ways, and he'll work those channels with his pace. He'll hold it up. Just he hasn't got that physical power in the way that Yakubu has to make him a menace.
Arteta has found a way through magnificently. And Kirkland in the end forced him wide.
Just ran away from him, didn't hit the ball. Great position, lovely bit of skill to start off with. Just knocking it round the defender. It's knocking a little bit far. Left with a little choice in the end. You see the ball bouncing around on this surface.
He is Everton's magician, one of the best signings of the Moyes era at Goodison Park. Hibbert. Kilban. Clearance by Jagielka, who was part of the Sheffield United side relegated when Wigan survived at their expense last season. Clear, Lanzat, away by Hibbert. Osman. Here's Cahill, Nuno Valente getting forward in support. It's by Titus Bramble. Lescott. Lanzat. Now Heskey. Here's Brand. Mario Melchiot. Heskey and Bent close to each other. It was Bent who won the header.
See that pair looking for each other all the time. A few minutes ago, Heskey tried a little flick behind him into Bent's path. They are building up a decent partnership there up front. They've got a greater ability, Wigan, with Heskey to keep the ball in Everton's half and play their football there. Great at holding it up. And player support. Valuable on a surface like this today.
Risk for Howard, with Bent putting the pressure on. Not a surface on which you can afford to take too many chances today.
No, I don't think so. It's Rosette time if in doubt. Cut out the back passes.
David Moyes implied there may have to be a bit of variation with a more direct approach. Oh, struck Bramble, and the break for him was fortunate in that it went kindly back to his goalkeeper, so Kevin Kilban can afford to smile about it.
Titus Bramble isn't. Right in the eye, that one. Sometimes they ping straight into the net, don't they?
It would have been unfortunate for him to score at the wrong end, having got two at the right end in the last 3 games. Bramble's couple of recent goals, a bonus for a Wigan team who have started to revive since Steve Bruce's arrival. Here's Cahill. Palacios tackled by Tony Hibbert. Michael Brown.
Just see a Paul Robinson moment, can't you? In Croatia, they carry on with these back passes. He's got to concentrate, the keepers in particular.
Cahill's header back. Struggle between Kilban and Arteta. The decision goes against the Everton man. Kilban has seen a few familiar faces from his time at Goodison Park. Fine rain that is falling, but that is continuing to add to the perils of the surface.
Easy to get out when you get pinned in your own half like that with a throw-in. Good pressing.
Palacios to shrug off Hibbert. Oh, and he came back off Carsley, and Heskey then reacted to it.
I wonder if he lost his bearings a little bit there, Emil Heskey. It was a really tough task to flick it goalwards in the position that he was in. What a lovely bit of skill from Palacios, who started off brightly. Comes to him quickly, and he's asking an awful lot really to get that one on target. Drifting beyond that near post. I wonder if he knew exactly where he was there.
50th game for Wigan today for Emil Heskey.
I mentioned he's on the drought. I mean, he hasn't played all that many games, has he? But it was mid-August, actually, that he scored his last goal. It's an awfully long time for any striker to go.
Only got a hat scored this season, that one against Sunderland. Marcus Bent, in contrast, has managed to score 7, including that hat-trick in that remarkable game here against Blackburn. Ball through by Brown. It was a nice idea. Here's Osman. Whistled out of it. This is Valencia. Lanzat instructing the pass to Melchiot. Now Lanzat becomes involved. Mario Melchiot. Away by Lescott. Valencia. Bramble. Kilban. Lanzat. Now Cahill. There's Shana's header. Palacios. Bent wanted it played through early. Delivered towards him, but the free kick given. And Jagielka tugged down.
It was a nice little ball, actually. Looking at Jagielka, whether he actually slipped or there was a foul in there. Finding it hard, Everton, to get out of their own half. A little barge, isn't it? Used to get out as a shoulder barge, that, and you got away with it. Not these days. Now being forced onto the back foot, Everton can't get the ball up to Andy Johnson and get support from there. Keeps coming back. Under pressure on the defence at the moment. Might have expected it with the team he's had to put out. I wonder whether he might have been tempted to play Victor Anichebe from the start, the youngster. A bit more power.
That's header. Level away, that was Brown. Now Palacios. Dealt with by Hibbert. Shana. Here's Kilban. Palacios. Cleared by Jagielka. That was Shana who met it. Now Brown. Heskey. Here's Valencia. Kilban. Away by Nuno Valente. Kilban again. Bent. Here's Melchiot. Heskey. Lanzat. Now Valencia. Just got away from Melchiot. They've held on to it so well for so long then, Wigan.
Well, they've certainly started off the better. They might just fancy Wigan. But this is a good time to play Everton without some of their key players, and on this kind of surface to get at the visitors.
Brown. It's so tight above Derby and Fulham, isn't it? Wigan, one of 6 clubs separated by 2 points, but Steve Bruce's side can make a significant leap up the table if they win today. They'll go up to 13th.
What difference that would make, just looking at the table. Confidence, morale-wise. A great job though, hasn't he, since coming here. Picked up 12 points from possible 24 and lost 8 games on the trot just before he arrived, so had an immediate effect, Steve.
Here's Arteta with a free kick. Julian Lescott has been a useful source of goals for Everton this year, his personal best of 6, which is Arteta. Osman.
A few decisions like that for the ref to sort out. Again, I just fancied Leon Osman, lost his footing there on the slippery surface, but got a chance to whip one in here. First real opportunity to put this Wigan defence under pressure.
Lescott has stayed forward and Jagielka has gone forward for the free kick. Osman and Cahill pretty useful too. Arteta, well, he's going to have to have it retaken, and a yellow card for Mikel Arteta.
Well, he's saying wait for the whistle, isn't he? But to give him a yellow card for that, why don't you just say, we'll take it again, wait for my whistle? I think it's a bit strong to dish out a yellow.
David Moyes looks bemused, and it does look a very harsh caution, that.
That says it all, doesn't it? He's obviously not doing it intentionally. He knows he'll get pulled back if the ref hasn't blown his whistle. He just wasn't aware of it, Mikel Arteta. It's a decent little set piece as well, wasn't it? A short one into Osman, I think it was.
Arteta's delivery. Cahill got up, away by Palacios. That's Carsley. Van clears. Hibbert. Arteta. And he's taken down now by Denny Lanzat. Let's hope he waits for the whistle on this free kick.
Yeah, that was a free kick. Not like the other one that looked a bit dubious, but puts one of his best players on a tightrope, doesn't it, on this kind of surface as well. Mistime a tackle, and a second yellow can easily follow.
Arteta's kick. And Carsley.
Did well there. Lee Carsley, not known for his goal scoring. The first touch flicked it up, and he had to take it quickly. He could see players closing in on him. Always difficult to keep it down, but not far away. Good technique from the midfielder.
As you say, he doesn't score many, but Steve Bruce will remember the one he has scored this season. It was against Birmingham when Bruce was in charge, and with 2 stoppage time goals, Everton beat Bruce's side 3-1. Here's Johnson linking up with Phil Neville. Osman's in the middle, and so now Arteta! Good save! Cahill arriving, and Lanzat arrived at exactly the same time. Well, they may have started the game slowly, but Everton are starting to bare their teeth now.
Well, chance it was as well. Excellent save from Chris Kirkland.
Arteta having to hold off Kevin Kilban. Palacios. Here's Heskey.
Up a bit, hasn't it? A few challenges and fouls going in. Everton just might fancy the chances. They've certainly stepped up and creating the best chance of the match. It was a mistake from Melchiot that let Andy Johnson. He does really well, Johnson. He had Osman in the middle, but he cuts it back into the path of his midfielder. Okay, it's right at Kirkland. Cahill would have been disappointed that he didn't make the keeper work a little bit harder than that.
Man's throw, just beyond Shana. Neville away to Osman. Now Lescott. Melchiot. Here's Valencia. Michael Brown. Bent. Palacios following in behind Tony Hibbert to just add that little element of uncertainty.
I thought Marcus Bent might have tried to pick out Heskey there. He was lingering on the penalty spot. In the end, he went a little bit longer.
Cleared by Titus Bramble.
Don't know what he's accused of not doing enough during his career. Titus Bramble taking a chance in those kind of areas and getting caught out quite a few times in his career.
Made a costly mistake for the Giovanni goal in Steve Bruce's first match back in charge this season. Don't want to be taking any chances here today. Away by Melchiot. Kilban's clearing header. Now Arteta. Brown. Nuno Valente. Here's Carsley. Put out by Paul Shana. This is Lescott. Now Jagielka. Bramble having to be wary with Johnson just behind, but he finds Wilson Palacios, who in turn finds Michael Brown. Melchiot. Heskey. Shana. This is Bramble. Now Kilban. Cleared by Jagielka. It buys Everton a bit of time.
Heck of a throw on him, Kevin Kilban. He's reached deep into the penalty area. A couple of times he's launched one in so far. Real threat, Marcus Bent taking a run up on this one.
Looking for him, Cahill knocks it behind for the corner. Bramble with 2 goals to his credit in the last 3. Joins the attack for this one. Valencia retakes Marcus Bent! And the goalkeeper clawed at it and it comes back off the bar. Here's Brown, up towards Bent again. Well, Howard furious then at being exposed to that.
It's a brilliant ball in. You actually thought it had been played too long, that corner. And only Marcus Bent was that far back, and didn't he do well with a headed effort? He drifted off Phil Neville, I think it was, the far stick.
Well, he's a player rejuvenated here, isn't he, Marcus Bent? He scored 7 goals this season, as many in 18 Premier League games as he managed in his entire 55-match career at Goodison Park. Offside flag is up here.
He wasn't happy, was he, Tim Howard, that Marcus Bent had got a little bit of room at the far stick. He has just wandered off Phil Neville to get that header in. It's unlike Everton to concede space in those kind of areas, and it's a great save. A vital fingertip from Howard.
Yes, a really important touch from the American goalkeeper. Here's Tony Hibbert. Now Johnson. That is matching Bramble, whom he then fouls. Here's Bent. Oh, right across, and Valencia's there! And Cahill slides in front of his goalkeeper to clear away.
How important was that? Tim Howard may have had it covered, but even so, really good work from Marcus Bent down that flank. And again, they don't do well enough trying to clear that one. Everton.
Played a quick short corner then to Brown, and here's Kevin Kilban. That one's cleared by Jagielka. It's Wigan asking all the questions here. Palacios just beaten to it by Carsley. Everton at the moment can't get out of their own half. Valencia finds the gap for the ball in. Cleared by Jagielka. Shana's there, so too Marcus Bent. Cahill scoops it up, but the danger's still not cleared. Carsley in the end gets it away, and Everton get the benefit of a free kick, and they need a bit of breathing space at the moment.
They do, come under an awful lot of pressure. It was a lovely ball across, a dangerous one from Marcus Bent, and he gets that deflection into Valencia's path, and he doesn't connect with it as well as he might. It's heading goalwards. Had a bit of insurance with Lescott on the line. Does he stint, doesn't he, shift defensively, Tim Cahill, and he's had to last 5 minutes.
Melchios. Heskey leaves it for Bent. Well, Palacios got there first. He was caught by Hibbert. A straightforward misjudgment, but for one for which he pays the penalty of a yellow card.
Well, again, it's harsh. You commit yourself to the challenge and you're a fraction of a second out. That's how much it was. And the ref produces the yellow card. I just think you've got to give a little bit of leeway on this surface.
So Tony Hibbert will miss Everton's next league match against Tottenham. Actually, coming into today's game, Everton had the fewest yellow cards in the Premier League teams, but Hibbert and Arteta, who've both been booked, are two of the 3 players that Everton have had sent off this season. Marcus Bent. Lanzat. Phil Neville first to it. Cleared by Shana. It's Arteta. Offside, Andy Johnson.
Well, it's been hard work going forward for Everton. They've actually created the best chance, haven't they, through Tim Cahill and Andy Johnson cut it back. But his team have had to defend a lot so far in this half. And I want to see a change to that pattern.
Well, he expected a tough game, David Moyes, with the durability of Wigan now under Steve Bruce, and he hasn't been disappointed. Offside there against Andy Johnson, which will disappoint the Everton manager. We've seen the best of his team so far, but it's a match that so far has matched expectations. Lescott, on by Cahill. Johnson. Here's Bramble. Back by Carsley.
Just saw the difference there between the two sides. Long ball up to Andy Johnson, and it's difficult for him. The long one up to Marcus Bent, and his height enables him to flick it off. Okay, it led to nothing, but it's a weapon Wigan have got and Everton haven't. A couple of options on the bench, James Vaughan and Victor Hanichebe, as I mentioned, for David Moyes. Well, it's 0-0 though. He'll fancy his team can carve something out.
Cleared by Bramble. Only to Osman though. Away this time by Shana. Nuno Valente. Bramble away. Palacios. Now Bent. Poor first touch, which gave Hibbert his chance to find Andy Johnson. Got away from Shana. Picks up off Titus Bramble for the corner.
Slack bit of play from Wigan, inviting the pressure. Johnson, an apology from Marcus Bent. Johnson just trying to shift it onto his left peg, a little half a yard of space to let one go. Going for him.
It's Arteta's corner.
Hadn't quite got set really. Lescott was still making ground in his position from centre half, and they took it quite early, Everton there.
Neville, Arteta, Nuno Valente, Osman. Melchiot stole in ahead of Phil Neville. Here's Lanzat. Valencia, what can he conjure? He's pulled it back for Michael Brown.
Got a bit of space there, didn't he, Michael Brown, in an area that you wouldn't expect him to have it. He was appealing for deflection, but it didn't, I don't think. I think he kicked it into the ground more than off the defender.
Here's Bent, now Lanzat. Here's Valencia. By Lescott to Osman. Phil Neville. Johnson. Now Bramble. Michael Brown. Kilban. On by Palacios. The return from Heskey, but Osman had read it. that. Kilban. Bramble. Here's Shana. Heskey. Brown. Steady for Palacios. The race on between he and Hibbert.
Plenty of possession, aren't they, Wigan? And you just feel in this half they've got to make the most of that during this period when they're on top, because we might see a little change about at half-time from David Moyes if he's entirely happy.
In from Brown, it's Bent's header. Valencia looking to follow it in.
They are on top. Steve Bruce's side, no doubt about it. Shading it on those attempts. Pretty equal on target, but they've had the lion's share, Wigan. And when you have that in the Premier League, you've got to make the most of it. But you know it's not going to last forever during the course of 90 minutes.
Andy Johnson onto this.
Maybe worth a swipe. He had nobody really in support. Tim Cahill was doing his best. Shana gets caught underneath, makes a bit of a hash of it, and trying to clear it with his head. Asking an awful lot to squeeze one in at the far post, Johnson, but not too many opportunities, sights of goal.
Here's Brown. Had to manoeuvre Heskey out of the way first.
It's a good battle that between Lescott and Heskey.
Oh, who's picking up Bent from this corner? Managed to work himself an opening the last time. He's lying low this time. Cleared by Lescott. Here's Brown. Heskey. Well, they were late to close him down. It was Osman who went towards him.
Glimpse. It's closed down fairly quickly. Gets penalised in the end for coming back. Lescott putting the ball into that box, into feet.
Nuno Valente. Cahill out jumps Shana. Melchiot. Might have been a slight collision between Cahill and Shana. Cahill just holding his head. Here's Lescott. On Cahill, yields a free kick.
Well, he's lifted his studs a touch. Then he lands that on Tim Cahill. He's had two whacks now in the space of a couple of seconds. To Shana, and butted him. Just takes the pressure off a little bit for Everton.
Arteta's kick. Lescott. Oh, by Bramble. And then by Palacios. Nicely climbing on Marcus Bent. Just eases the pressure again on Wigan. Well, 4 days after Manchester City knocked West Ham out of the FA Cup, the two meet again in the Premier League today. That comes live on Sky Sports 1 and HD1 from 3:30. These two clubs both face Chelsea next in Cup competitions. Wigan in the FA Cup, Everton before that in the second leg of the Carling Cup semi-final. Big week ahead for Everton, for all the progress they've made under David Moyes, still looking to pick up their first silverware, and that represents a great chance to do so. Here's Valencia, now Denny Lanzat. Carsley trying to get it away. Lanzat. Overhit by Emil Heskey.
Struggled with his kicking a bit. Tim Howard, whether it's on the floor or out of his hands. Apologises for it.
Melchiot. Neville. Nuno Valente. Bramble away. Lescott. Lescott took a bit of a chance then against Marcus Bent. They still come to something. Brown. Here's Heskey. Working hard to retrieve it, Emil Heskey, and does. Palacios just dwelt on it for too long. Arteta looking for Andy Johnson. Oh, Bramble's missed his kick, and Andy Johnson takes advantage. An awful slip from Bramble, and Andy Johnson has his 6th of the season, and Everton are in front.
Oh, would you believe it? We're talking about Titus Bramble, we're talking about this being an afternoon for finding Rosehead, for not passing it back to your keeper if you can possibly help it, but he takes that option, the defender decides to try and slip one back to Chris Kirkland, and it just ends in heartbreak. He's been there before, hasn't he? And it's all about Andy Johnson. Can he keep his cool? And he gets that little bit of luck going through the keeper's legs. So often it might hit the keeper, but not this time. It's clinical from Johnson, and it's a gift for Everton. It really is. After a long period of dominance from the home side.
Well, against the run of play, but Andy Johnson was not about to pass up that gift from Titus Bramble. A player who was gobbled up and spat out amidst the high expectations on Tyneside, but found himself a home here where he has a new set of admirers. They were singing earlier in the half, there's only one Titus Bramble, the Wigan fans, but a costly slip there. And so often at this level, those sort of errors are punished.
Well, he wouldn't have seen that one coming. I would have hoped it wasn't coming anyway. It's been a good first half from his side, and then all of a sudden 5 minutes to go before half-time, that happens. And
Bramble here up against Johnson, he does get more on that.
Everton, I'm sure, would have just been pleased to get through to half-time at 0-0 and maybe reassess the situation. Should we change it? Should we put somebody on to give us more of a threat? Complexion of the game changed completely now.
Driven across, and Bramble this time not taking any chances whatsoever. He can ill afford to.
It's a bloke. You can see Chris Kirkland having a word. Got to keep his head now, Bramble. But you would have thought, he's been in this game a number of years now, he's not a youngster. You would have thought, particularly today on this surface, don't take any chances. Just kick it out.
Arteta's corner. Lescott claiming that he was having his shirt pulled then.
Motioning to the ref, wasn't he? Heskey and him. There's a little tug there. Would have been a big call.
Arteta's kick, Johnson flew in for it, and Cahill had to react to it. Oh, Lescott follows it in! Julian Lescott does it again! his 7th of the season, and Everton, who've been under the cosh for most of this first half, 2 up before half-time.
Well, up against a side like Everton, it's going to be awfully hard now for Wigan. It's all about this near-post ball. Andy Johnson making the dash. Really, they've got to get somebody in front of him, and once it gets past, it's chaos in there. And there's Lescott all on his own. Doesn't he take it well, by the way? A nice, sweet strike at the far stick. He's on a roll, the boy. They'll make an almighty mess of it. Wigan, and it's a real steep uphill task now for them. Simple enough finish for the defender.
Well, he got the winner against Manchester City. Joleon Lescott, last time out. And he may well have helped to ensure a win here against Wigan. It certainly is a steep climb for them from this. Here's Valencia. Wigan really had things pretty much under their own control, but now, with 2 goals in the space of just over 3 minutes, Everton in control.
It was self-inflicted, wasn't it, you have to say. Got Everton up and running.
Heskey's header. Kilban, Palacios, Lanzat looking for Marcus Bent, got the header back, here's Heskey.
We're going to go before half-time, and that would change things completely, but Everton showing all the resilience, scrapping, trying to hold out. Team talk's changed a great deal to what it was going to be, David Moyes.
So has Steve Bruce's, fairly dramatically as well. Side were on top, but now, having been makers of their own misfortune, they trail 2-0.
There's a great example. Lescott not taking any chances there, although Howard was within 10 yards. He wasn't under pressure, Lescott, but he didn't actually know, and he just booted it clear, took no chances.
Shana. Here's Kilban. Just the 1 added minute in the first half. It's Bent. Kilban. Bent. Now Valencia. Lanzat. Melchiot's cross.
Just begging for somebody to make that near post dash. Then across the keeper. Nothing wrong with the cross from Melchiot. Test of their character now, Wigan's. Got to keep going.
Here's Hibbert. Well, Titus Bramble revisited by old doubts. A ghastly error gave Andy Johnson the breakthrough goal for Everton in a half that had been a slog for them, but they now lead 2-0 with Joleon Lescott again having scored the second. Wigan 0, Everton 2. Well, Everton have kept 6 clean sheets in their last 8 matches in the Premier League. They haven't conceded a goal in the league since the turn of the year, so it is an almighty task facing Wigan in this second half. Those goals right at the end of the first half from Andy Johnson and Joleon Lescott, real body blows to a Wigan side who'd started the game so well.
They had. I mean, they were playing with confidence. Didn't look like a team that was the wrong end of the Premier League, but it'll be a real test now of their confidence and character. Just got to keep going, nothing to lose.
Melchiot just succeeded in keeping it in. It was an attempted back pass that cost Wigan so dear for the first goal. Here's Hibbert. Now Johnson. Hibbert.
It's not the kind of team you want to be 2 goals down against, are they, Everton? Because you know they'll just keep working. They won't let up. David Moyes on the sideline urging them on.
Hibbert. Shana. Bent. Now Heskey. Lanzat. Here's Palacios. Leon Osman brings it clear. Back by Shana.
First touch. It's Kirkland.
Nuno Valente. Osman held back. Like Wigan, Everton are one of 6 clubs separated by 2 points, but it will give them a head start over Liverpool, who don't play until tomorrow. If they can secure the victory, that will take them up to 4th place in the table. Lescott has already played his part. The second goal. Here's Osman. Melchiot. Here's Bent. Joleon Lescott.
See what Marcus Bent's trying to do, lead from the front, keep that tempo up, closing down. Emil Heskey's been limping last couple of minutes. Last thing they want to do is lose him.
Here's Johnson. Around Bramble this time. This is Hibbert.
Having a word with Lee Carsley there, Tony Hibbert, for that ball. Not the best for him.
Heskey. Here's Jagielka. Now Osman. Teta, well, he was looking to make room for the cross. He was taken down by Palacios. And it's going to be a booking.
It was a nice bit of skill. I'm just looking at Palacios straight away. He got up and he's appealing that he didn't touch him. There's Arteta pull the fast one here. A better view. Typically inventive and neat. Any contact there, he certainly committed himself, Palacios.
Here's Arteta over the free kick. They'll need to defend better against this than they did from the corner from which Lescott scored. Cahill. Lifted over in the end by Johnson. Wigan wanting to make a change and bring on Antoine Sibierski, who got a goal for them with his first touch that won the match at Derby, and I think Steve Bruce wants to make another change as well if he can get Jason Kumas back in time.
No, looks like they are going to lose Heskey, so that'll be a blow, but Kumas will lend something different. Running on from midfield.
Won by Heskey. Labouring through at the moment, Emil Heskey. Arteta. Palacios nicked it away from him. That's bent. Here's Valencia. Nuno Valente caught Marcus Bent.
Don't really need to do that to the Everton. Concede free kicks in the kind of area where Wigan can just swing one in. You never know what can happen from there, but the substitutions. Picks up enough Heskey, and it's rare that he manages to shake it off. Invariably he will come off. I just thought maybe could he have carried on, gritted his teeth? Obviously not, in his eyes.
Then he lands, that's the other player coming off to be replaced by Jason Kumas, who at 28 is still really a player of unfulfilled potential from his youth. Kumas has lifted this one in, Marcus Bent goes for it, oh, it's gone over the line, it's in!
Might have gone in off Jagielka, that's it. That's the player I look to immediately. It's a beautifully played ball in. I'm looking at Tim Howard, he's making up his mind, do I come for this or do I not? In the end, he doesn't, and he's close enough in for him, for me. When he does decide to come, it's too late, and it is Phil Jagielka. The ball comes off, knows nothing about it at the far stick there. I just thought Tim Howard could have cleared his lines here, but come a little bit quicker, come ahead of that clutch of players. Set things up nicely, hasn't it?
Certainly gives Wigan renewed hope. Jagielka didn't know too much about it, not a lot he could have done about it, just struck his arm and went in. And Wigan have hope.
I was talking about conceding free kicks. Valente going into the back of the Wigan player needlessly, really, in a harmless area. And it's paid. It's cost them.
Well, first touch from a substitute brought Wigan their goal at Derby when Sibierski came on and scored, and first touch from a substitute here leading to a goal. Jason Kumas with a free kick that brought the own goal from Phil Jagielka. Cahill. Arteta. Now Carsley. Given away cheaply to Brown. Sibierski. Now Mario Melchiot. Sibierski just couldn't take it on the run. Lescott hoping to run it out, and does.
We just felt that Wigan needed something pretty soon if they were going to get back into this game. They've got just what Steve Bruce would have been hoping for. Yes, they've lost Emil Heskey, but in Sibierski they've got a player who knows where the goal is.
Kumas. Now Jagielka. Here's Arteta. Got away from Brown. This kick by Cahill may still run for Johnson. It's Titus Bramble who slides in and is the hero this time. There is hope now of atonement for Bramble. It's a recoverable position, he had to recover then against Johnson.
He did. A little slow initially to react, but made up ground quickly.
Kevin Kilban's throw. Lescott away. It's in by Brown, but in the direction that Antoine Sibierski wanted. Valente. Michael Brown. Here's Bent. Here's Valencia. Swung out.
That's a shame. He's actually in a good part of the pitch there where I don't think it did bobble. You'd expect better from him. Valencia. Good player. Has to keep this tempo going now, Steve Bruce. Keep getting at Everton because people will make him Everton's life very difficult now.
They've scored now in every game since Steve Bruce returned to the club. Here's Jagielka. Brown. Sibierski's run it past Jagielka. Bent's just waited his moment and Valente got in the way in time. Here's Kumas. Swept away from him by Hibbert. He saves the corner. Here's Michael Brown. Away by Neville. Palacios urged to shoot.
Probably shouldn't have taken to the edge. He's a long way out there, Palacios. They're on the up, aren't they, Wigan? Putting pressure on that Everton defence. Could have been a lot easier second half on this Everton side. Better just done the basics right.
Shana. Here's Sibierski. Plays it right to Valencia, who needs men in the middle. Oh! Kumas can keep it in here. Jagielka got the call.
You see what he was trying, Valencia, just to drive it goalwards and see what came of it, see if Tim Howard could gather it. In the end, it was a little bit wide.
Well, it's an excellent response from Wigan. Spiriting for them to control much of the first half and still found themselves trailing by 2. Steve Bruce has produced the necessary reaction.
Good spirit, it seems, within this camp at Wigan.
It's away by Julian Lescott. Sibierski, Nuno Valente. Lescott took a chance and loses out to Palacios. Bent's in the middle. An appeal going up that Palacios was helped down by Julian Lescott, but the referee unconvinced.
Didn't look a great deal in it. Made up the ground quickly, actually, Lescott, after his initial mistake. Got his body there. Didn't do enough there, certainly, for a penalty.
Bramble's kick. Sibierski's headed down, Bent. Oh, horribly wrong for him. Oh, just claiming it. Bramble. Kumas. It's Kilban. Lescott. Bent's header. Here's Valencia.
A lot going up that right-hand side, isn't there? They're feeding it into Valencia, and every opportunity to attack Nuno Valente if he can.
Kumas' corner. Beat Bent and Bramble that time. Here's Johnson. Foul by Wilson Palacios.
To go again, don't they, Everton? They've been rattled by that goal. Going forward, it hasn't quite happened this second half.
Brown. Here's Sibierski. Osman. Jagielka. Cahill.
Well, he's felt the arm on the back, Tim Cahill, so I think he's tried his luck. Shana. Get a hold of the shirt. It's a nudge, it's a tug. That's the reason for the fall. Shana's taken an awful risk there, you know. Is it likely to run out anyway?
Really clear view that Lee Probert had. Here's Kilban. Bramble, oh, that's another horrible miss kick from him. Melchiot is under pressure from Osman. Bramble then rescued by his captain. That was Lescott. Kilban.
Just let him get on with it there. The other defenders, Kevin Kilban, deal with that bouncing ball. I think it was offside. Andy Johnson. But they just stopped.
Kilban still arguing the point with the linesman. Here's Hibbert. Arteta. Johnson. Arteta's cross. Away by Bramble. There's Shana. Away by Neville.
Nice chance to be sure that nobody was in support of Andy Johnson there. Paul Shana. Blind header.
Brown. Here's Kumas. Kilban. Good skill from Palacios.
It's a decent signing, doesn't he? Palacios, but Steve Bruce had him at Birmingham. He's come into this Wigan side. He's a real try-out with some good skills as well.
Going to Arsene Wenger's notice first in a trial at Arsenal. And played 8 games for Birmingham before his move here. Wilson Palacios. Here's Phil Neville. Carsley. Kilban. Neville's kick finds Mikel Arteta. And it's Andy Johnson, tried to roll it into Cahill's path. It was Bramble who cut it out. Arteta's ball in, and Melchiot away, but only to Osman. Leon Osman! Unlucky.
That was unlucky. It was a brilliant effort. I thought, first of all, that he should have taken this on first time as it was dropping towards him. In the end, he did have the chance, the time, to chest it down. Very close.
Bramble. Kilban. Away by Neville. Here's Bent. Jagielka. Neville. Cahill away. Bramble tussling with Andy Johnson. It's Kilban. Here's Hibbert. Titus Bramble playing it against Johnson that time. Bramble made his Wigan debut at Everton on the opening day of the season. Everton won that by the scoreline we have at the moment. Here's Phil Neville, given away to Palacios. In slides Carsley, here's Osman. Trying to set Johnson away. Bramble across to cover.
Didn't quite sit down for him. And with Johnson, it was bobbling up and down in front. Done a good job there up on his own against the 2 big centre halves. Made some clever runs.
Here's Mikel Arteta with Everton's corner. Neville. Arteta couldn't keep it in. Well, Everton have already completed league doubles over Bolton and Middlesbrough this season. They haven't yet managed one against Wigan. The goal early in this second half has just encouraged thoughts that Wigan may yet revive themselves. It's a foul by Phil Neville. Brown got on with a free kick. Too quick for his own good, but they want a throw-in out of Lescott. Here's Melchiot. Cahill.
They made their changes, haven't they? Wigan, at least 2 of them, and it has had the desired effect. I just wonder how long it will be before David Moyes decides to make a switch. I think he's got to need to be warming up. Delicate position, isn't it? You're 2-1 ahead, 20 minutes to go. Some heavy legs on this surface, he might just want to see an injection.
Well, can Kumas do it again from a free kick? Lescott away this time. Palacios, that was firmly hit, but Phil Neville gets it away. Melchiot towards Shana, who won the header. Jagielka struggling then for a moment against Sibierski, and it is a corner.
A faint flick on that one, Jagielka. Swinging ball, played with pace and whip. Anything can happen here.
Away by Carsley. Melchiot. Howard looking to release Johnson this time. Wide with his kick.
I just wonder if he would think about that goal and recognise whether he should have come or not. He made a step to go and then he stood and then he went, and it was too late by that stage, and the ball had flew over that crowd of players and hit Jagielka at the far stick. Certainly close enough to him, I think, to get his fists on it.
Dragging down Kevin Kilban. David Moyes has two 19-year-old strikers at his disposal on the bench, James Vaughan and Victor Anichebe. Here's Melchiot. Going to slide into Michael Brown. He'd strike the arm of Carsley. There's Bramble. Lescott. Hibbert. It is the fresh legs of James Vaughan that Everton will turn to here. And Phil Neville, on the eve of his 31st birthday, hands the armband over and makes his way off. Lee Carsley takes up the captaincy. James Vaughan comes on as a replacement in terms of personnel.
I just think give him something a little bit extra up front. Tim Cahill no doubt will slip back into midfield. Allow the youngster to support Andy Johnson.
James Vaughan, who's been so unlucky with injuries, he had a shoulder injury pre-season, which has limited his involvement in the Everton team so far in this campaign. Not the ball that Marcus Bent wanted.
Ridden that storm, haven't they? After the goal, Wigan kept knocking at the door, but Everton have survived that initial flow. Can Wigan mount another surge?
Bramble. Bent. Surely there's an advantage there that he had to play.
You'd have thought so, wouldn't you? I mean, he let the play go on, the ref, and then he called it up when Valencia got on the ball. A strange one.
Wigan's momentum broken, but they won't be complaining if the free kick leads to anything. Shana who takes. Maybe the complaints will resurface.
No, just hit 5 yards, wasn't it? Making it difficult. Aiming for Sibierski, but the ball, the delivery not quite right.
There's Vaughan's header. Away by Brown. Kumas. Melchiot. Valencia. Kumas!
Not quite set there, Jason Kumas. Body weight wasn't over the ball. They get a break there because Bent's meaning to lay it further back than Valencia, but he takes it in his stride and lays it off, but never set for it, Kumas.
Player who started out at Tranmere has been linked with Everton a couple of times and has been the subject of transfer speculation as well during this January window. There's Titus Bramble with a header. Osman. Here's Vaughan. Looking for Johnson, just too far in front of him.
A lovely first touch from James Vaughan. Thought we might shift it inside after that and have a crack at goal. Melchiot slipping. Keeping offside anyway, Andy Johnson.
On by Bent. And away by Jagielka. Shana. Cahill. Brown. Arteta. Here's Johnson. Oh, Brown had a little dig at Mikel Arteta.
What did he see there? What did the ref see? I think he's had a little flick, and in any other game he'd have been booked for that.
In towards Bent. Headed down by Vaughan. Quite release Johnson because Shana holds him up, but Everton's still looking for a breakthrough here. This is Johnson. Melchiot unable to run it to safety, and here's Johnson linking up with Arteta. Shana comes in, only to Cahill, and now they can bring it clear. Valencia looking to make headway, finds Marcus Bent. Sibierski up ahead, it's Kumas, he's tried to play through, and it deflected off Jagielka as he unselfishly aimed to feed Antoine Sibierski then.
And they sneaked in behind Tony Hibbert there. Jason Kumas got the better of the right back. Might have had a crack at goal.
Brown. Away by Nuno Valente. Here's Melchiot. From Sibierski's head. Here's Cahill. Now Hibbert. Looks as though Wigan might be preparing to throw on the last available Substitute to Steve Bruce, Julius Agahawa is getting stripped and ready for the last 10 minutes. It's Kilban. Now Brown. Jagielka away. Lescott trying to hook it to safety, but only picking out Valencia in the end. Jagielka. Cleared by Osman. Johnson found himself surrounded. Here's Valencia. Just lost his balance, having been caught by Leon Osman.
I just fancy if they're going to get something, they can feed the ball out to Valencia. He's the only real wide man of note in this whole match. Everton play quite narrow, and on the left-hand side, Wigan do as well. But Valencia can do it for them. I think he can create with boom. Final throw of the dice from Steve Bruce.
There's Julius Agahawa, who hasn't scored in 20 Wigan games so far, coming on in place of Michael Brown. He's been here a year now from Shakhtar Donetsk, Julius Agahawa, and he's coming into a situation similar to that from which Wigan have got their only goal of the game so far. A free kick out on the right from Jason Kumas. They had a bit of good fortune about that as it went in off Jagielka. That one got deflected through as well, but Kevin Kilban unable to direct it goalwards.
Well, it was almost an identical position, wasn't it, that free kick? And Kumas again trying to whip one in, and just comes off the side of the wall. Kilban can't steer it goalwards. Let's wonder if they might have something in this final 10 minutes to surprise us.
Here's Arteta. Vaughan. In the area of the pitch then, that didn't really help him. On by Sibierski. Bent couldn't bring it under control. Away by Lescott. Here's Melchiot. Valencia. Driven against Nuno Valente. Here's Palacios. Trying to get it through the legs of Cahill. But it's cleared by Carsley. That's Vaughan up against Shana.
He was up against it, Shana, as well. Vaughan had the legs of him.
Manchester City amongst the clutch of clubs that, like Everton, started the day on 39 points, and they follow Everton into action against West Ham. That's live next here on Sky Sports 1 and HD1. It's a result that, if it stays this way, will take Everton up from 5th to 4th place in the table.
It's the kind of game, on the kind of surface, you just want to win. Forget all about it afterwards. It wouldn't have been particularly enjoyable for either set of players here today. Difficult to get it down and control and pass.
Here's Johnson. But Everton in really good form in the league. Just 2 defeats in their last 12 matches, and those against Arsenal and Manchester United. Free kick.
I think a lot of people looking at this period where the likes of Pienaar, Yobu and Yakubu away, expecting maybe Everton to struggle, but they beat Man City last week and get a win here with great value with the players he's got available to him. David Moyes.
A lot of goals to take out of the side. Yakubu's 12. So he's away at the Africa Cup of Nations. Here's Arteta's kick. Johnson! Shana did enough in the end to clear.
Yeah, Lescott wasn't far away at all from that, you know. If he'd have got a flick, he'd have fancied to helped himself to his second goal here. There's a danger going forward on set pieces, just a whisker away. Lescott.
Surely another now would kill off any hopes of a Wigan revival. As things stand, Wigan still in this contest. Costly mistakes from a corner in the first half. Arteta's kick this time. Cahill and Vaughan ended up going for the same ball.
Giving his senior partner a little earful there.
So still reasons to believe here for Wigan. We've lost just twice in the 9 games since Steve Bruce returned to the club. Nagahara caught Osman as the two went for the same ball.
They were both the same height, really, weren't they?
Osman was only just back from injury anyway, quicker than it was thought he would return when he sustained the broken toe. Can Everton see this through? Buoyed by a good travelling support. There's Palacios. Sibierski. Now Melchios. Away by Osman. Clearance by Hibbert. Cahill.
Right, it's the sort of match for Wigan that they shouldn't be too dispirited about. They might end up coming away with nothing, but you know, they can hold their heads high up against on-form Everton side. Just had that 40 minutes in the first half, didn't they, when they were on top and they didn't score. Then they gift their opponents a goal and they gift them another one. Leave Lescott totally unmarked at the far stick. It's just been a little bit too much to claw back, so far at least.
Here's Hibbert. Cahill.
They can get the win, of course. Everton cranks up the pressure. The neighbours across Stanley Park, doesn't it? Go ahead of Liverpool before they play tomorrow night.
Against a side that, like Everton and Manchester City, started the day on 39 points, Aston Villa.
It's tight at the bottom, tight at the top.
Everton closing in on a place in the top 4. Now Bramble wary of Vaughan's presence. And, this time as the ball is with Melchiot, the referee did let play continue. Back from Agaher to Bent. Here's Kumas. Is there to be a late sting in the tail here? Valencia. Swung in by Kumas. Anywhere will do for Tim Cahill. 2 minutes added on. That's how close Everton are to claiming their place in the top 4. Could Vaughan seal it for them here? Can he break away from Bramble?
He's done his job since coming on, hasn't he, James Vaughan? Exactly, I'm sure, what David Moyes would have asked him to do. Just use your pace and your enthusiasm. to hold the ball up if you can, relieve the pressure. He did it there.
Not quite job done for Everton yet, who have already claimed one top four place in the reign of David Moyes. Here's Valencia. Bent. Puts it horribly wrong, and there may not be too many more opportunities to fall Wigan's way.
Valencia's had that ball out on the right side on the good ground twice now in the last couple of minutes, just looking for him to knock the ball, maybe get to the byline, rather than knocking it into that bobbly patch that's so difficult to control the ball.
Exasperating day for Steve Bruce. His side started the game so well and started the second half so well. Melchiot. Everton just running the clock down here. Everton go into the top four. A result that will delight David Moyes, because it's been an afternoon of hard toil here against Steve Bruce's resilient Wigan team. Costly defensive errors cost them in the end, leading to the goals from Johnston and Lescott in the first half that in the end were enough, despite Wigan's attempt at a second half fight back. Wigan 1, Everton 2.
Well, obviously it does nothing at all for Wigan's situation at the bottom of the league. They started the day outside the drop zone, and that is where they stay. There was a chance to improve. A win would have given them a little breathing space, but it is Derby, Fulham, Sunderland in the drop zone, still on 20 points, Wigan and Birmingham just ahead of them. But for Everton, it's a significant move into fourth. 42 points their return from 23 played. Chelsea, Arsenal and of course Manchester United still top. United on goal difference.
Not the prettiest game on the eye, but the league table looks good at the moment from Everton's point of view.
Yeah, vital 3 points for us today. We knew it was going to be a tough game coming in, the pitch and the conditions, but we held on. And got
hard game to play in?
Yeah, definitely. After last week as well, Man City was tough for us, but today different contest with Emil and Benty up top.
Andrew, for the first 40 minutes, it could be argued that Wigan were the better team.
Yeah, they're a good team. It's a hard place to come, you know. All credit to Wigan. It's tough conditions. Probably physically one of the hardest games I've played in this season. So credit to Wigan. But the main thing is we've got 3 points and we're sitting pretty in the table at the moment.
And then Titus Bramble made that slip. You were in on goal. What goes through your mind at times like that?
I think as a striker you've just got to gamble on everything. You know, every ball that's played you've got to chase it down and just hope for the best. And fortunately it fell to me and I was pleased to put it away. So.
And then this fella next to you scored again.
Yeah, I know, I can't catch him at the moment, do you know what I mean? Every time I get one, he gets one now, but I'm buzzing for him, you know. He's been fantastic form all season and quality today.
The goals are coming from all over, aren't they, Jolyon?
Yeah, I think it was vital this season that we can't just rely on people like Andrew to score all the goals, and I've chipped in with a few myself this season, and so has Tim Cahill.
Fourth in the table, semi-final to come on Wednesday night. That should be a bit special.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be a massive game come Wednesday, but all credit us today in getting the 3 points.
Well, many congratulations. Andrew, if you'd like to make the presentation.
Well done, man.